Welcome to our show. Today we're going to be having an opportunity to talk about one of the most important things that's going on in our community, in our neighborhoods, and in our lifestyles, and that's healthcare. Healthcare has become a topic that is very rewarding in some instances, but can be troubling to those who may not have a handle on understanding exactly how it could benefit them. And in many instances, there are some criterias that you may not be able to benefit from because there are some professionals that really don't want to let you know all of the facts. But I'm here today with Mr. Craig Lordigyan. Craig has a program that he has been able to help individuals learn about the healthcare industry through working in a capacity of teaching them insurance. He does insurance relicensing and continuing education. Most of the work that he has done has been in South Jersey, but he is someone who is a native northern Newarker.
Yeah.
Mr. Lordigyan is an insurance professional, and he works out of his office with his wife, Toni Anne. The National Association of Health Underwriters and a number of other different involvements he has been able to have accredited to himself. He has earned a bachelor's degree in management from Rutgers, and he has honors in that particular area as well. And he is a good friend of ours, and we really appreciate him giving us an opportunity to showcase who he is. Thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to image profile you.
And thank you, Herb. I appreciate that introduction. What I wanted to just mention was that it's more or less Western Jersey rather than Southern Jersey.
Oh, is that right? Blairstown is in the west?
Yeah, it's in Warren County.
Oh, okay.
But we serve everyone in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania.
Because I'm one of your
among
clients.
other states. Because you're
Because
one
you're
of
one
my
of your
clients.
clients, exactly.
Right.
And we're very happy about the service that you have given to us. I know that I've reached out to you on a number of different issues, from trying to find out how I can get insurance, in regard to what I do as a broadcaster, but also as a technologist and other areas that are important. Healthcare is also an area that you have a tremendous amount of knowledge about. And one of those issues that we're dealing with now is the Affordable Health Care Act, which has now become part of a political football, if we may say. And the idea of it exists, and there has not really been any kind of opportunity to do anything different than what has been done. And I think that most of the times people are finding ways to discredit it than to look at how we can make an advantage out of it. Are people still confused about these changes?
Oh, absolutely. There isn't a day that goes by that our office doesn't get 1, 2, 3 or more calls regarding, panic situations, especially today is the 11th, February. You have 4 more days to enroll if you're an individual without insurance. This is your last opportunity for the year. And if you miss that date, some people might already realize that they're going to have to wait until next year to get coverage.
Now, again, the relationship of how this program works is not different than what has been done in the past as far as enrollment. You can't enroll anytime you want.
Well, in the past, with individual insurance, it was always different than small group or large group insurance. You have these 3 categories: small group, 2 to 50 employees; large group, 51 and up; and then individuals. They might work for a company that doesn't offer benefits. They might be just individuals that are self-employed with no employees, and they go into the individual market. So each market has their own rules and regulations, and it's different. If we're talking about individuals, in the past, they almost were able to get insurance any day of the month, any month of the year, even if they had no coverage before. The downside was that they would be subject to what's called pre-existing condition exclusions. And these exclusions would not cover any condition that you've been treated for in the last 6 months for at least another year. Now, I'm talking New Jersey regulations. You know, every state has their own state regulations as well. So if someone wanted to enroll, they would enroll, and if they had high blood pressure, they would be subject to pre-existing condition exclusions in the past that if they had a heart attack in the next 6 months, it wouldn't be covered. So the good thing is we don't have to worry about that anymore. But there has to be some kind of restrictions on when you can enroll. Otherwise, you would just buy the insurance when you feel you're sick and then cancel it when you feel better. Mm-hmm. So the insurance companies are not going to be able to survive with that. So now we have certain times of the year that we're going to be able to enroll. Individuals, October 15th to December 7th is where we're going. But in the first 2 years, they've extended it and they've shortened that extension. So now this will probably be our last year going out as far as February 15th. Mm. So people have to be aware of that. Yeah, there's no pre-existing conditions, but now you've got timing issues.
When you look at it from that perspective, are we in a situation that if you are enrolled, you have to enroll every year?
Well, yeah. In fact, right now, if you're out of coverage for up to 3 months, that's the only so-called buy that you get. Mm. But if you don't have coverage 4 months or more, you're subject to a penalty.
I guess maybe my question wasn't asked properly. If I'm already enrolled in a program, mm-hmm. every year do I have to enroll into that program?
Well, you renew.
You do still have to do something in terms of registration.
Well, sort of. If the plans were staying exactly the same, you would just have your increased price, and they would tell you what your new price is, and you would move on and roll right into the next year. And depending on if you are writing or enrolling directly with an insurance company or through an agent or through the exchange, the marketplace, you know, that could still be done the same way. Sometimes when you have a subsidy, when you're enrolling through the exchange, you have to do some extra step or two, but generally it's smooth, okay? It goes right into the next year. You don't have to go through an entire process.
Is there going to be an increase each time because of the nuance of how this program first started out?
Well, you know, it's a tough question to answer. History has it that we have increases every year, mm-hmm. and people are getting kind of used to it, if not already. With small groups and companies, things have changed tremendously in how they even rate the groups. So sometimes I have groups that, you know, have 6 employees and they have hardly any increase on the whole group. And then on other cases where, you know, I have the same amount of people, but in a different area, a different makeup, I have 20, 30% increase. So it's hard to pinpoint, you know, if you're going to get an increase or not. The individual market is pretty steady so far.
The idea about the individual market, and as it's being introduced, there are a number of individuals and a number of people that are buying in, and some of them are clandestine. How do you trust them?
How do the insurance companies trust those that are enrolling?
Or how do you trust those who are enrolling you to make sure that you're getting what you're looking for?
Oh, the agents or the people that help you out. Well, I'll tell you, you know, you have to have a license in order to help someone pick a plan. Those that might be navigators or people that are assisting that don't have a license cannot help you pick out a plan. They can guide you on how to use the website and how to do certain things, but you have to pick the plan yourself. If you are dealing with a licensed agent, you know, there's some agents that do this on a regular basis. There's some that don't. So some are going to know more than others. And you have to actually be certified. In New Jersey, we use the federal website, marketplace. So you have to have certification to participate in that marketplace in order to sell a plan and get compensated. Then there are those people that are agents that have an extreme amount of knowledge because they are, indebted to the industry and this is all they do. And those are the kinds of agents that I would trust more than someone that's just dabbling in it, here and there.
When you're looking at it, the way it's been structured, there are different levels of access based upon the kind of people that you're really working with. You pretty much have the level of intellect and knowledge to work with a myriad of different groups and organizations. You deal with a lot of business owners in particular, which is a very difficult process because a lot of the people who are helping to participate in this process don't really have that opportunity to know how to help navigate a business owner through this process. Has the new law affected the small mom and pop shops in the community?
We had a huge effect on this with health reform, and it trickled in and really hit us hard in 2014. My wife and I, we run the business. We're a mom and pop shop too, so we're affected too.
Well, in what way does it affect you? And I want you to expound on it, because there are some people who do have nonprofit organizations and it's just them. What are the penalties that are going to exist to any kind of a business that exists when it does not have health care?
Well, under 50 employees right now, there's no penalty.
Oh, great.
You don't have to offer any benefits.
Oh, that's... Because I know when it was coming out, they were making me feel like I needed to get an employee, and I'm not even carrying a budget right now.
Well, you're okay.
Okay.
The mom and pop issue is huge because there's a ton of businesses out there that are mom and pop shops.
Right.
They have no other employees, and some of the mom and pops actually have one of the spouses on payroll as a legitimate employee per se. But in 2014 was when they really enforced what they started in 2010 when this act came about, and that was to look at employee definition of an employee on the federal level instead of the state level.
Okay.
So now, if you have mom and pop that are related, you are not an employee.
Really?
No longer.
Even though you're paying them?
Even though they're a W-2 employee.
Wow.
Yeah. If you're a C corporation,
that's an advantage, wouldn't you say?
No, it's a disadvantage.
It's a too.
Because
go ahead, explain.
The mom and pop shops were eligible for group insurance. And the group insurance usually gives you a lot more flexibility,
right.
Sometimes even better rates, more plans, choices, and so forth.
So it eliminated that now?
So now you're forced to go to the individual market. And the individual market, whether it be the marketplace, going direct, or just getting an individual plan, because they don't recognize partners as employees anymore. So if you have 5 partners in the business with no W-2 employees that are not related to you, then you don't qualify, even though you have 5 people in the business, for group insurance.
Was that supposed to be part of the process, or something you think that fell through the cracks?
I don't know. I think that there was a lot of effort, probably, this is my assumption, that the carriers, the insurance companies, were losing a lot of money on mom and pop shops. And then all of a sudden, mom and pop shops are no longer eligible for group coverage.
Wow.
But it also knocked out other legitimate companies where you might have 4 partners just working in the business together with no employees, and they were eligible for group coverage, and now they're not.
The mom and pops no longer eligible using federal definitions of an employee really now find it not an advantage to them, and the relationship of it seems to be maybe an area that should have a tremendous amount of change. How do we find an appropriate method of being able to share that kind of hardship and say that we need to work on changing it?
Well, we can do what I'm going to be doing at the end of this month. I'm going to Washington, D.C. I'm going to Mr. Booker's office. I'm going to see some of our other congressmen, and with probably 500 or 600 other agents, to lobby for certain things that weren't really lined up properly. And although mom and pop shops are important, they may not be one of the most important things on the list.
That's good to hear, and obviously an opportunity that we can be able to work with you to raise that awareness and bring that kind of information out to the community. It does exist to the extent that those kinds of activities aren't fluent in our communities, and you may be just breaking a new story for me.
Okay. In fact, if any of your viewers want to send a letter to you that you could forward to me, I will hand deliver it.
Wow.
At the end of the month.
That's awesome. So in relationship to helping small businesses and developing ways in which we can give them an opportunity to also take advantage of a lower rate, a lower premium, a better opportunity where they can be able to define healthcare in their business life, can be supported by us in the community. And we can certainly help Mr. Lordigyan in his lobbying effort. Now, what kind of challenges are the business owners actually facing, and so that we can kind of construct some way in which we can help you?
Well, there's a lot of havoc out there. And if you're not using an agent that I call qualified, someone that knows the rules, knows what you can do and what you can't do, you can find yourself in a pickle in a lot of different situations. One of the things that a lot of the employers are not aware of is, they're just finding out, is the way things are being rated now and how they come up with a premium. So it used to be that we would take everyone's age and average it out. And you would have one rate for all the single people in your group, one rate for all the people that had one or more children. Didn't matter how many children you had, it was one price. And then you had one rate for couples and one for families. And if you hired somebody down the road in the middle of the contract year, you knew what the price was, and it was the same as someone else in that contract here. Now, it's a little different. Now, one of the biggest challenges we face is individualized pricing. It used to be called composite because everybody was averaged. Now it's individualized. So someone that's 52 has one price. Somebody that's 50 or 49 has another price. So one of the problems that we have is, how does an employer, in a fair way, distribute contributions of money to people with different prices? Am I going to discriminate against someone that's older by giving them less and reverse discriminating against one that's younger, giving them more? Or am I going to take a percentage? So it's really a challenge, especially when it's new and you're not used to it. So you have a list that has all the ages with all the prices for the premiums for each person. So when you hire them, you know what you're going to pay.
Wow. That does seem to be confusing. A required pediatric dental process does not exist?
Yeah, pediatric dental was one of the essential health benefits that's required in individual and small group plans. So with that, if you're an employer, you are required to offer to the employees pediatric dental and vision. So some of the companies build it into their price, and of course everybody pays a little bit so that a few of the children have this coverage. Other companies will charge just for the person's family that has those individuals. So now you've got plans with convoluted pricing. Some are charging separate, some are building it in. And if you just dabble in this stuff, I don't know how you can help your customers on a wholesome level.
Right, on a level that is not confusing to the extent that they are not getting the type of benefits that they really want based upon the type of restrictions that are made from the government plan. The new rules on open enrollment, the pre-existing exclusions, the deadlines, the things that are not relevant to us as consumers. You have been able to identify with a number of the areas that we can feel comfortable with. How do we find an opportunity to talk directly with you if there are some other concerns that we may have?
Oh, absolutely. Easy as phone call, email. I can give
You're
you
online.
online. The Lordigyan Insurance Agency.
And you're my Facebook fan.
Facebook fan. We have a Facebook page.
That's right.
We're looking for more likes.
Okay.
I can give you my phone number, 908
Right.
459
Right.
4704.
Right.
There's almost always a human there to answer the phone.
And it's really encouraging because what Mr. Lordigyan is doing is a great effort to outreach in our community, more so than just looking for business, but really trying to effectively find a way where best case scenarios and people who are going through different things in their lifestyles that may not be observed in the business industry would be very helpful in his effort to do outreach and to lobby for a better program as the one exists. Now, as we do know that there are some members of our legislature that want to abandon the entire program wholeheartedly, do you think that that's really going to take any existence?
Well, I belong to the National Association of Health Underwriters, and it is our lobbyists through that organization that I get some inside information that's public information, but not widely known. And the issue is, although the Republicans have this majority, there are Republicans and Democrats that crisscross the line. So, it doesn't mean that this is going to definitely happen. I don't think personally that it's going to happen, but I do know that we need some certain tweaks. And we're the professionals on the front line, and we're at the table with the government, helping them, people at the association level that's higher than me, and actually telling about the problems associated with some of the things that you can't figure out at the national level until it trickles down into the local level. One of the other big problems that we had was Department of Labor is now starting to enforce things that we never saw enforced before. So there's certain things that companies have to do to stay compliant, or they could be subject to other types of fines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be looking forward to you being my intelligence and helping me to filter out some of that information to our community. Certainly it's important that we do find a way to develop a united effort. United for Peace is the effort that we're going to be trying to work on in the future. We're going to be looking at putting together conferencing and different workshops and ways in which individuals of professional relationship like Mr. Lordigyan will be accessible to helping us identify some of the obstacles that happen in our communities when it comes to all types of different issues, from healthcare to the law enforcement issues that we have in our community, to different ways in which people are treated on their domestic issues of problem. We want to thank you very much for coming in, sharing with our audience the important values of healthcare in our community, and that you are going to be partnering with us. I'm not going to not take the opportunity to ensure that point
Thank
of view.
you very much.
I really appreciate it.
We'll do whatever we can to help.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lordigyan. Again, you'll be able to contact Mr. Lordigyan at
908-459-4704.
And also, he is on Facebook and some of the other trending local networks that we are all interfacing with to get the message out and be a part of this fascinating opportunity to make positive change in our community. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're looking forward to seeing you again.